So with that, why don't I get us started? I want to do two things today. This first one, I want to begin to expand your self awareness to think about how you build coalitions that drive change. One of the things that we see very clearly in the research is that this is not the time to try to move on our own individual effort and expertise, but this is about thinking about how might you build coalitions, community, collective thinking that can help you drive your ideas and your bold dreams. And then the next one is I not only want us to explore the creativity, ingenuity, and leadership of Black women, but I want you to claim that fully. How do we claim fully our creativity and our ingenuity and really move in and walk in that? And so, again, this idea of no longer thinking that we have to do this as a solo act. I want each of you to recognize that you bring a slice of genius into this conversation. And what we will do over the next, 70 minutes or so is create a space where we get to this place called collective genius. And that's when we come up with ideas, solutions, and strategies that we cannot on our own. So again, you've received a lot of information. How I say this, one directional. So now I want to pull your voices in. If you see the first description of who I am, this is my thing. I'm about creating spaces where people recognize their fully recognize their potential and their dopeness. The research tells us that you reach a place where we plateau and we don't access our full realm of possibilities. And so I love generating spaces where we help you see a thing different, and in community, we help each other go for that. And so that's what I hope we do together. Let's see. I see Lucretia coming in, gaining tools to continue to be my most authentic self. Beautiful. My goodness, this one, Jamila, I want to know how to not overwork myself to try improve myself. Yeah, we know the way bias plays out is that we're often the ones that have to prove it again and prove it again and prove it again, right? Where someone else just has a quick pass. And so how do we think about how we're not overworking ourselves, how we're not having to try and prove ourselves? So I hope we can get a little bit into that today. All right. So this is a picture of my paternal grandparents. I usually have my paternal and maternal, but I felt like bringing my big mama and big daddy into the space today. So this question of who are your people, in my small rural community that I'm from, they would say who your people is, right? Who your people is. And one of the people we will be exploring today is Ella Baker. And Ella Baker would always start out with this, who are your people? Why might she have done that? Why do we ask this question of who are your people? Why do you think we ask that?
Can I come off of mute and speak?
Yes, absolutely. Just come in. Mm-hmm.
I think that it gives you an understanding of where you come from, who you are. If you don't know where you come from, it's kind of hard to kind of see the path forward.
That's right. Yeah. Tell me what was that?
Sonia.
Yeah. So it's hard to see the path forward if we don't know where we are coming from. So this real grounding in who am I? And then I see Tiffany Owens. Tiffany O is coming in. It shapes who we are, and it's what we bring with us to every setting. And how do we not answer that, right? So maybe let's do that. They inform you who you are as well as who you want to be. Nice. So it's informing how I'm showing up from this small, rural, predominantly Black community that I come from, right? That's my roots. The other part, though, is once we enter conversation with each other, the reason Ella Baker did it is what? To create community, to give us a sense of connection. And so I want you to just in the chat, in whatever way that you want to express it, who your people is, where you come from, anything that you want to share, get in chat with that. Who am I? Where do I come from? And who do I want to be? Still thinking about the piece on wealth that we heard, and you're building wealth. What is it for 3 generations for your grandchildren? Even that is a question. So in the chat, who are you people? Where are you from? From the South, the North, the East, the West? Who are your people? Let us know in chat. You can also come off of mute if you want to come in with us so that you can unmute. Just request approval for audio and I'll pull you in.
I can come in off of mute.
Yeah.
This is Sharika.
Hey, Sharika, talk to me.
My people are from Mississippi. My dad only has a 6th grade education. My mom only has a high school education. My dad owned his own grocery store or corner grocery store growing up. But we still lived in poverty my whole life, and they still live in poverty. And I'm the 2nd out of 9 children to go to college.
Wow.
And who I am becoming because I saw my parents work so hard and not get anywhere. I am that person who works very hard to get somewhere and to leave a path and have a positive influence everywhere I go. Because my dad, even though he had his flaws, he also left a very positive influence in the community.
That's beautiful. Thank you. I think it was something about our parents and our grandparents. There was a wisdom that's beyond, and maybe even, how do I say this? A lack of conformity in a whites. They did more, and maybe because we had to. They started grocery stores. I love that you said he was an influence on the community. And now what I hear you saying is, and I want to leave a path. So just note that, right? So we recognize the strength of our people, how we bring that into our leadership, bring it into who we are, and not only that, like how you continued. And then what's the path that I'm leaving? Good. Thank you. Let me have one more voice. Note the small rural. I'm from a small, I see Sonia coming in on that. I see rural towns in Texas. So if you're on moderation with me, just make sure you're muted, unless you're coming in to give voice on this one. Fort Wayne, live in Cincinnati. My dad's family from Alabama, my mom's family from Arkansas. All right. The upstate of South Carolina. They were entrepreneurial and hard workers. Good. So I even want you to think about this for those of you who lead teams. How often do we just ask our teams, who are you? What are you bringing to this team? So it's a knowing beyond what? Beyond my title, beyond what we do. It is who we are. And we should lead with that. I often say, flip it, not what you do and how you do it, but who are you? And that is what helps us get grounded. This question of how do we remain authentic? It is beginning with who are your people and who are you because of that? So maybe jot that question down. Who are my people and who am I because of that? And how much of that do you bring in? Someone said that in chat. We bring it into every space, but how do we claim the best parts of that have shaped us? Yes, our trauma, what do we say? And our resilience. So what are we going to talk about today? My other title for this session was "We Been Dope, period, the end," right? White supremacy has kept us out of being educated on the intellectual thought of Black women, but we've always had a unique lens of leading. So I want to talk about the unique lens of Black women. We're then going to discuss chaos, community, and creativity. And so I want you to own the moment that is full of chaos, but that breeds creativity. And we're going to do that in community. But I also want you to recognize that as a Black woman leader, because of our experience, we have the skills to do that. And then we get into the end. So how do we access our power, and what does it call in us or for us to do? All right. Can I bring any of you that are on the moderation team with me, Raquel? Let me bring you in. Somebody read this poem by Lucille Clifton, and then get in chat and say, what do we hear in her words? So we're just going to use Lucille to sort of prime our minds for this discussion. She says, won't you celebrate with me? Somebody give voice to this poem. Talk to me. Hey, Chicago in the house, outside of Chicago. Wow. Beautiful.
I'll jump in.
Thank you.
Won't you celebrate with me what I have shaped into a kind of life? I had no model. Born in Babylon, both non-white and women. What did I see to be except myself? I made it up here on this bridge between stars, shine, and clay. My one hand holding tight, my other hand, come celebrate with me that every day something has tried to kill me and has failed.
All right. So what do we hear in Lucille Clifton's, in her words? And the reason I start with a poem is because I want to get you out of the left brain and into the right and into the creativity. So what do we hear? How is she describing being a Black woman?
Resilience.
Yeah. What did she say that gives you that sense of resilience?
Something has tried to kill me and failed. And she also doesn't have a mold. She's not following any type of path. She's creating her own path every day that she wakes up. And because of that, she wants us to celebrate.
Beautiful. Yes. And I see Raquel came in. The time that you were saying that, she said, I had no model. Yeah, so she's creating something new that has never been seen before. Anyone else? Again, just my moderators, just make sure we stay muted. Backdrop.
Can you hear me okay?
I can, yes, talk to me.
Okay. Another thing that stood out to me is, holding on, like one hand tight and the other hand celebrating. It's not fully being free yet, like still, kind of clenching your teeth, like, oh, like I want to fully celebrate my wins, but I'm still a little nervous about my past. I feel that way a lot of times.
Ugh. Who was that?
Quinny.
Yeah. I want to write that down. I want to celebrate and I'm holding tight. Somebody said to me, this was like a community circle, and they were saying, what would it mean to relax and be held? And I felt that same way. Like, what relaxing? And to your point, we're still clenching it. We're celebrating and we're still clenching our teeth. And maybe that's the question. How do we get free? How do we get free from that? Anybody else? What do you see in the poem? Tasha Wade Boyd, can you request audio so I can pull you to the panel? I want to hear. I missed this about having to start from scratch. Tasha Wade Boyd, if you ask permission, I can bring you into audio, unless you're already with us. Where is it again, Sonia? It's the top right corner where you requested.
Yes, it was right at the top.
Okay. All right. Oh, it's full. What? This is blowing me. They told me you all would be able to comment. Okay. All right. Well, we're about to go into a breakout room, so I hope this works. Anything else that you see in her poem? What did she say? Both non-white and woman. Both non-white and woman. What did I see to be except myself? And so back to your points on this this question of, we have no model, and so how do we create it? Or if we've tried to create ourselves against a model that doesn't actually fit who we are. And so I want us to really look at how has being a Black woman in America positively shaped you and shaped your leadership. So you can take a snap of this. I think you probably have a question. How has being a Black woman in America positively shaped you and your leadership? I'm going to put you in a breakout room for 10 minutes, maybe about 3 people per. Yeah, what did I see to be except myself? Maybe we write that down. What did I see to be except myself? Non-white and woman. So let's see if in the breakouts it's not allowing you to hear each other. Let me know and we'll just keep it in the larger group. Do I have you all back? Give me a yes. Good. Jamila. That's what I wanted to hear. I'm just going to I'm going to try to teach far less. Yes, we needed more time. I knew that. So I'm going to, just because of all of the wealth of knowledge that you've gotten today, you need to be in community. Anybody? So come, I'm going to bring, Cassandra, come in. Anybody else want to join the team so we can give voice, come in and tell me what you talked about in your group? Jamila, you coming in?
Mm-hmm.
What did you all talk about? What did you come up with?
Oh.
Or did you? And it's okay if you just connected, because I didn't even tell you all to introduce yourself. So if you just literally came together and talked about who you were in your colleges, whatever you did is fine.
So hoping that Raquel and Tiffany are okay with me sharing, but we basically talked about, the struggles of having to tailor, negative experiences into positive ones. Just based on our experience, as well as, our upbringing and, how our parents brought us up to empower ourselves through the work that we do. Right. And Tiffany and Raquel, if I'm missing something, please cut me off. But one of the other things that I told them that I struggle with often and daily is, who is Jamelia within this working environment? I don't fit into the mold of the organization that I support. So quite often I struggle with who to be, right? Hopefully that makes sense.
It does. And when you're at that position, you have a decision to make. First is deciding that's the right question, who you are. I often, some of you may know morning pages. When we're in that place of transition and do I fit here, I say, get on the page, 3 pages, longhand, and you just write, because what you were trying to get back to is your question. It's so beautiful to live with questions. Who am I? And then you can start making some decisions. And am I losing so much of myself, leaving so much of myself at the door that I can't be me? Or am I leaving so much of myself at the door because there's such a bias to fitting in? So it's maybe two questions. One, is this truly not the place for me? Or two, have I just conformed, right? We are taught, I mean, style switching, code switching is another subject for us. And in that, we lose some of that genius that we have. So Jamila, who am I? Do I fit here? No shame, no shade. Like, who am I? Do I fit here? And then from that place of clarity, we make a decision. And the possibilities are endless. I wanted to highlight Arbery's play. I'm going to talk a lot about this. Black women's innate ability to read a room and create community. Read a room and create community. You know, it's all of this around, we need human-centered leadership. And every time I read, and it's reshaping the capabilities required for leadership, I'm like, Black women have been leading like this for years, right? We know how to read a room. We know how to create a space of belonging. We recognize everyone. And it goes back to that, the most marginalized. There was a piece, I can't find it, but it's talking about if you meet the needs of Black women, you meet the needs of probably everybody in the organization. And so because we are the most marginalized, we automatically do these things. Yeah, we know how to read a room and we know how to create community. Anyone else? How has being a Black woman in America positively shaped you?
This is Cassandra. I'm not sure if we really fully unpacked that question, but we talked about how sometimes expectations of us or as Black women are lower than they should be. And we're working twice as hard only for people to be surprised that we show up and bring it the way that we do. And one of the workshops talked about rest. Like, we can still surprise people without breaking our backs and working twice as hard. And them being surprised is about them.
That's right.
It's not about us, that their expectations of us are lower than they should be.
Love that.
We're always going to bring it, and we don't have to break our backs to do that.
That's right. Let me share a story with y'all. So I teach strategic pathways for ELC, and in it, we always have a male ELC member that comes to speak. We never let any men into like sacred space, but we let one man in who's an executive leadership member, and he surveyed white leaders in the C-suite, predominantly men, and he said, how would you describe Black women? Do you know what he said? Black women are going to get it done. Regardless, they sacrifice time with their family, sacrifice time with their dreams. So I know if I give it to Sonia, if I give it to Arbery, if I give it to Raquel, they're going to get it done at the sacrifice of their own family's dreams. So there's something we are always going to bring it, and recognizing that there is rest and that there are our own goals and dreams. When he said that, everyone in the room was like, what are we doing? Because we're trying so hard to prove our worth. There is no worth to be, right? We don't have to perform or perfect or please or overwork to be worthy. We already are. And so we move from that place. What did you say? That's their stuff. Them being surprised is their stuff. Yeah, we are enough. So there's no proving required. And if it is, it's back to that Jamila's decision point. Hey, do I stay? Do I go? Yeah, we are enough. That's right. It's nothing to prove here. And the fact that white male leaders are saying, if I give it to Ashley, she's got to get it done. Yeah, we are the most empathetic most times. The corporate world is, thank you, begging for emotional intelligence and empathy in their leaders. And Black women have carried that within us. It is who we are. I'll move us forward because I want to put you into another breakout room. I literally used that phrase this morning to describe talent amidst a reorg. She's a Black woman, so she's going to get the job done. We're going to get it done. My goodness. And I think that is in how we've been raised too, maybe. Yeah, strength to be resilient. We pivot when necessary. And so I want to say that the thing that in some parts was just so that we could survive. We've done so with style. You can think about your grandmothers, your aunties, the people in your community. There is a way that, again, we get it done. And this quote is from April Ryan's new book. What is it? Black Women Will Save the World. I think that's right. But look at what she said. Who just said that piece about, I think it was Ashley. She says that when Black women succeed against the odds, their resilience, That is their emotional intelligence, their authenticity, and their agility. So I want you to write those 3 words down, because I do believe we have the emotional intelligence. I do believe we can be agile. And what I want to make certain of is that we are also leaning into that which makes us us, which is what the moment is calling for. So, yeah, what did you say? We are the most empathic, right? Empathic most times. So we have this emotional intelligence, this authenticity, and this agility. And I want to strengthen the authenticity. So I've just gone all the way. So what I want to do now is, what is the current moment? How many of you seen VUCA? Just give me a yes. We've been teaching this for about, I don't know, 5 to 7 years, but it has accelerated. So just give me a yes in the chat if you know VUCA. It's just a way that we're describing the current organizational context. Yeah, thanks, Tiffany. So very, 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 very quickly, VUCA says what? That first, we are in this midst of volatility, top right, where things are coming to us really quickly, where we could see things far off. Now they're coming in fast. That volatility is creating this uncertainty. The uncertainty is the known unknown. It's COVID. We're in a pandemic, but we don't know what to do. Now, the thing about uncertainty is that this adaptability paradox kicks in, because we don't know. What do we try to do? We try to drop back to how we've succeeded in the past. This is organizations saying we don't need to be hybrid. Everyone come back in the office, because they're moving almost like in an old playbook, but the situation has shifted. And so that volatility and that uncertainty is creating this complexity where, again, we keep trying to operate in this very linear way when this is a non-linear moment. The other thing about complexity is that we can't, I already said this, but it requires community. The problems are too complex. The problems are too complex to think that in my individual effort, in my individual expertise, in my individual silo, I can accomplish them. And so that volatility, that uncertainty, that complexity, it exhausts people. Everyone I teach is saying, I'm exhausted, I'm burned out. It's creating that, right? But the thing that really stirs up the insecurity, y'all, is the ambiguity, the unknown. I think maybe. And while ambiguity can be positive, the moment is calling for it, it can also be negative when we have leaders who are so ambiguous that they are stirring up our insecurity. I don't quite know what's expected of me. So I share this model to just help us see what is happening in organizations with this level of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, and want to offer that because of who we are as Black women, we have an ability to move in this a little bit easier than others might be able to. Thoughts on that? Agree, disagree? Pull on it a little bit. Thanks, Jamila. Yeah. I
I'm
hear somebody coming
sorry.
off. Yeah.
Yes, hi, this is Pamela. I want to pull on a little bit of every little bit of this. It was a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if many of the women here saw in LinkedIn, there was a post, and it was about how Black women, when there's ambiguity or when there's, I guess you could say, even volatility and maybe even uncertainty, or when we're just not freaking happy because we are giving so much and doing so much and not really getting that recognition, or we're demanding it and still not getting it, we tend to go and get another degree. Or we'll go and get another certification. And that's why we're so highly educated. I
Wow.
mean, that's the litmus test right there. You can see it right in front of you. That's why we're so successful in education, because when we're tired, bored, frustrated, uh, when things are just so crazy, we just add a little bit more crazy and say, I'm going to get a degree. I'll stop there.
Well, Pam, talk to us about that. Then what's the implication? How do we think about that, Pamela?
I mean, I think it because I'm like, I've been contemplating like getting a degree for another degree for the last 5 years, and it's the two jobs that I had in the last 5 years. But thank goodness I'm right now in the leader with the leader. Leadership is everything. Let me just say that, Tiffany.
Mhm. Yeah.
Leadership is everything, and when you find or when you seek out your next opportunity, you should really study the leadership you're going into. And I mean, that just sounds so cliche as maybe, but it's really, really super important uh, because, I found a leader I think I can run with.
Mm,
Her name is Danny Brown. You may have heard of her. So I'm just super proud of her. And she
mm,
is
mm.
pulling all of us along that want to run aside her. So it's just one of those things. I guess that's my thing. I'm still going to go get that degree
Mm, mhm, mhm.
because that'll fulfill some other pieces of me. But as
Yeah,
regards to pulling it apart, I think we still have to spend time focused on the leadership, focused on the circles we want to be in. I guess that's the
nice.
way I would say.
Yeah. I'm just really sitting with that when we get frustrated, when we are uncertain, why do we go back for another degree? Anyone else on that? And then I'll move us forward. So how do we fully lean into our beautiful uniqueness when we're dealing in these VUCA environments? Ah, Tasha, I didn't want to go there, but yes, Tasha, I can't bring you to the, can I not bring you to the, so I can hear that, to make you, to have you give way? Yes, thank you. All right. Hi, Tasha, talk to us.
Hey there, I did this and I'm not proud of it.
Mhm.
I'm proud that I was able to get through it and accomplish that for myself, but that wasn't originally why I did it. I did it to validate myself in the eyes of other people so that they could look at me and say, yes, she is worthy to sit in this seat or sit in that next seat that I was looking for,
Yes.
instead of taking me on the hard work that I put in, the fact that I had not gone to a single game of my kids, the
Mm,
fact that I was at work more than I was at my home, and the fact that when problems arose, I was the problem solver,
mm,
and
mm,
not only in my personal life but in my professional life. And I felt that no one saw me.
mm.
And because I felt no one saw me, I felt like they would only see me if they saw the piece of paper first.
Oof.
And I'm glad I have the master's. I'm not going to say that it is not valuable, but I had value before I walked into that. And I wish I would have known that then.
Snap, snap. I want you all to write that. I had value before I walked into that. Value before I walked into that. Already chosen. Already chosen. But and I will say be easy on us because this structure within which we are working, right, has also, if we talk about what it means to be a Black woman, having to prove ourselves again, it creates these behaviors in us. Yeah, I see someone saying going for DS in engineering. Probably many of you are in another program, and I'm working, and I'm the problem solver. Yeah, over and over, right, over and over again. Who's coming in? Talk to me.
Can you hear me? Nubia
Yes,
Margaret
well,
here.
great. Nubia, talk to us.
Yeah, I think once I got to kind of got on a leadership team, I had to stop getting additional degrees and certifications at my own expense. And so once I learned that the peers that did not look like me were getting paid, they were getting professional coaches assigned to them, executive leadership programs that the company was paying for. They had whole professional development budgets in upwards of 50K plus that the company was paying. And I had spent years of certifications. I have an MBA, all of these things that I paid out of pocket to get to bring to my organization. I was like, oh, that's the game, right? I had to get hip to others getting the resources that they needed to level up and roll. Whereas I was getting all of these additional, accolades at my own expense to trying to get the opportunity where others were getting the opportunity, they were getting the title and then getting the training and the support to go along with it at the company's dime. So I had to have that aha, moment for me, probably a little bit too late.
No, not too late. And you just helped somebody on the call. One of my first jobs, this Black woman said to me, she was like, get everything you can out of them.
Yeah.
All of what certifications do you want? What do you want to learn? So as much as we are giving, we are also, right? And we give. We already talked about that. Yeah. And I see Quinice is never too late. All right, so let's talk about. I want to. I'm conscious of how I want to make sure that you all get time with each other. So I'm about to go into an idea of how we move in VUCA with some groundedness, and then I'm also going to talk a little bit about how we build community. So I'm going to go through these slides a little bit quicker, if that's all right, just so that I can get you back into a breakout room together. Does that sound good? We have about 45 minutes left. Yeah, there's power in community, right? Okay. And actually that sort of goes with this slide. So this is, where do we go from here? Chaos or community? What's this from? Anybody know who said this? Where does it come from? So this is King, 1967. This is his last book. And in it, he's really, we've passed the Civil Rights Act, the Voting Rights Act of 65. He actually goes off to Jamaica, I think for a month, and writes this book a year before he passes. And in it, he's saying Civil Rights Act, Voting Rights Act have passed. Now we have to take all of this and try to integrate it into structures. And what's happening? White resistance is increasing. He also tells white liberals that you have to do more to bring about change. And then he speaks to the Black Power movement. He's saying, are we so focused on our own economics and political voice that we're not able to build interracial coalitions? He's talking about the Vietnam War. All of this is sounding very similar to today, right? We have this higher level of white resistance. They just published this piece on what we're seeing in organizations, and this resistance to DEI work, interestingly, not interestingly, is one of the things. And I get to work with leaders across organizational contexts. And this is what I hear, these ideological differences across multiple areas. It's really interesting because there is this hesitance, not only hesitance, but an inability to hold conversations across difference, right? And despite this notion that we're focusing on race and equity, inclusion and belonging, having these conversations that we haven't, leaders still come to me saying, what about me? And feeling left out in some unintended way, even when they are part of the dominant culture. And so we bypass hard conversations, we become paralyzed, we revert to old ways of being, and this chaos, right? This chaos is still present. And so King seems to be saying, is it one or the other, community or chaos? And then the great Septima Clark comes in and she says, I have great belief in the fact that wherever there is chaos, it creates wonderful thinking. I consider chaos a gift. How does that hit you? What emotion comes up when she says chaos is a gift? Anybody? Or even when you hear the word chaos, what emotion comes up for you?
Innovation.
Ooh, who said that?
Pamela.
Yes, Pamela. Daughter of Sister Septima Clark. I'm in the, anybody, Ashley Camp that feels stressed, raise your hand. Pamela Camp, we see it for what Sister Septima calls it, which is innovation. And so what I want to offer is that, again, in the mind of Black women leaderships, Septima makes us say, what if chaos is the way? So we've disrupted everything. And what did you say, Pamela? It brings this innovation, chaos and creativity. What has happened? We've dismantled what we think we know. It's created this disorder, but it cultivates this associative thinking, which, just as Pamela says, is when we can innovate. Because it's blowing it all up. Now I have to take disparate parts and try to pull them together to create something different. And the truth is, what wasn't working for everyone. It works for some, it doesn't work for all. And so how do we say minimal variability and the sense of belonging? How might I create a space and innovate and create this sense of belonging for everyone? And exploration, that's it. Pamela, you could teach this part for me. That is it. So we want to move into exploration, but what it requires, my folks on the line, is, I almost fell out of this chair, my goodness, I'm getting hyped, is we have to know our tendencies, our inclinations, because again, adaptability paradox is what we drop back into, maybe habits, patterns that don't serve us. And so this raising your self-awareness. And so what I want you to consider is, when ease, comfort, and convenience are out the door, what do? I have to find out, Jamila. I'll find out about sharing this deck. I'm sure I can. I'm gonna drop let's just do this now. So if ELC doesn't share it, this is my email. Just send me an email. All right. So I'm going to put you in a breakout room, and I want you to talk about this. When ease, comfort, and convenience are out the door, what do? But then more than that, I'm interested in the second part. So Pamela can help us. How do we stay grounded in your truth when it is chaotic, and see it as a place of exploration and innovation? And the reason I'm asking that is, just as we said, we know how to read a room and we know how to build community. So with that, we can focus on exploration and innovation. All right. Does that sound good? How might we stay grounded in your truth when it is chaotic? Give me a thumbs up. And if there's another slant on this conversation that happens in your room, that's totally fine. I am in service to what you need most. All right. So I'm going to start our breakouts. I think these are random, so it might not be the same people. 5, 10. I'm gonna have to do this for 8 minutes. I'm sorry, y'all. I'll try to cut more content so we can get at least one more breakout. All right, go in your breakouts. How do we stand in our truth? That one probably felt even shorter. So just get in chat if anything came out. I'm going to give you some tips. So get in chat. What do we do to stay grounded? Jamila, did y'all have any tips? What do you do to stay grounded in the chaos? So we're in this VOCA moment. We bring this unique ability to be empathetic and to communities and to read a room. And so in this chaos and uncertainty, how do we remain grounded? Just get in chat out as you are doing that. Yeah, I think it's random breakouts, Gwen. So as you are getting in chat, anything that you came up with, I will share with what's on the slide. And I realized I didn't fully introduce us. So Septima Clark, as many of you probably know, was in the Highlander School, and she was known for these citizenship workshops. So everyone was focusing on getting Black people ready to vote, because we had to pass all of these tests. But she also had this idea that you must integrate the need with what you were trying to accomplish. So she would do literacy training. So she worked for the Highlander School, and then she actually went to SNCC, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. And that's where our next person comes in, Ella Baker. So Septima Clark and Ella Baker worked closely during the Civil Rights Movement. All right. And again, Septima, when I first read this piece, she wrote this whole letter on it. I had it on the slide, but it's hard to read, where she's blown that we are overwhelmed by what we're seeing as chaos. She's blown that why are y'all worried about volatility, uncertainty? This is when we get creative. This is when we breed new thinking. And so what I want you all to do, first of all, if you were to ground in the chaos, number one, decide who you want to be, right? We don't do leadership on autopilot. So number one, decide who you want to be. I have it in individual, team, and organizational level. Don't worry about that. Just at an individual level. Who am I? So then your circumstances, the chaos, the VUCA storm coming doesn't impact your actions. You ground in who you are. And you're also not managing others' impressions of you. Right? We're not, the moment you start managing others' impressions of you, you get here, you get self-conscious, and then you're not connected with your power, which is in the present moment. Yes, want to be the calm in the storm. There it is. So then the next one is ground in your why. What called you here? What were you hoping to accomplish in your organization? So we're deciding who we want to be. We don't do leadership on autopilot. I'm the calm in the storm. That's my back pocket, and I carry that. And then I think about my values, and I ground in my why. And I notice when I'm trying to manage others' impressions, am I saying it right? Am I doing it right? Do they like it? None of that. I'm focused on my purpose, and I'm moving from that place. And then we go practice, not perform. This period, who said this is about experimentation? This is about learning. They did what did they say fail is? I can't remember. But it results in learning. And then the next one is we have to lean into collective leadership. How do we build community? How do we lean into collective leadership? I want thank you. First attempt in learning. Fail is a first attempt in learning. And that's the mode that I want you to take as we navigate the choppy waters. I was going to say, I want all of you to sign up if you can for Strategic Pathways for Women. We have it in New Orleans, and then we also do a virtual, but we go much deeper on all of this. And it's just this amazing group of Black women leaders from different organizations, and we just really build each other up. Oh my gosh, thank you, Jamila. I would write that down. It's not my business what other people think of me. Hey, Alicia, how are you? I was going to ask if we had any Strategic Pathways alum. Beautiful, thank you. All right. So remember, in the chaos, write this down. Who am I? Who do I want to be? What's my why? And then how can I build community? Oh, that's so good to read. Then we have accountability partners to make sure you stay true to it. All right. So now we bring in the great sister, Ella Baker. Y'all, Ella Baker gave Martin Luther King so much. She just couldn't get along with him. She really believed that leaders shouldn't be out front. They did a pamphlet once, something on the civil rights movement. And she's like, why are there 15 pictures of Dr. King on here? This is not about him. This is about the people. And her whole leadership philosophy is around, I'm not transferring knowledge all the time. I am co-creating knowledge with everyone else. And what are we telling leaders? Again, we have to co-create knowledge. And so what she says is the solutions lie with the people, period, point blank. And so some questions, you can take a picture of this. I want you to think about how you might use your emotional intelligence, our ability to build community, to access knowledge around you. I also want you to think about what's a hunch? What's a hunch that you have for your unit, your function, your expertise that you want to tug on a little bit? And then consider this question. How would you finish this statement for your team or organization? Wouldn't it be great if we blank? Somebody get in here with that. Wouldn't it be great if we what? If we ask more questions, wouldn't it be great if we blank? So we are thinking about how do we create this collective leadership and tap into the collective intelligence in the room. Someone, Jamila, I'll have you read this out to me. That's it, Cassandra. Wouldn't it be great if we listened more? How about that? If I'm the only one talking, all I know is what I know. And we say the 3 most powerful questions as a leader that you can ask are tell me more. So I want you all to practice that. When people feel deeply listened to, it shifts. Wouldn't it be great if we were not afraid to ask hard questions? Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if we could just say, I don't know?
So I'll go ahead and read. You want me to read it real quick?
Mm-hmm.
The revolution is an ongoing process intimately bound up with one's vision for the future and with how one interacts with others on a daily basis.
Good. Thank you, Jamila. What are the implications of this? What's Ella telling us? Sister Ella Baker is telling us what? Have to have a vision, right? The prophetic imagination of our ancestors blows my mind. And have we lost some of that? It's not looking at reality as it is, it's casting forward. What's the vision? And once I have the vision, then how am I interacting with others on a daily basis? So articulate, what's the vision? Again, what are you dreaming about? And a great way, who said that question about, Jamila, I think it was you, about asking hard questions. I want you to get curious. Dream again. Wouldn't it be great if I want you to think about, again, the prophetic imagination of our ancestors. This is a time to dream. It feels, I live in DC, it feels like a hot mess right now. I'm overwhelmed by it all. But when I can ground in truth, when I can think about our ancestors and the women who came before, then I can start dreaming again. And the way that we dream is not in, we should do this, It goes into the could, and you get to the could by the what if. And so I want you to take just a minute and write down, what's a what if for you? What if you what? What if I started my own business? What if I purchased a home? What if I moved to Georgia? What's your what if? And I want you to write it down. When we write something down, it alerts the brain, right? We're doing something different. What if? Ooh, Cassandra, wouldn't it be great if we're not trying to be right? My goodness. I read this, we said we should say, I'm not certain. I'm not certain. Even if you think you are, say, I'm not certain. Oof. And then I want you to write a what if statement for you. If I told you just dream big, what would you write? What if? What's your what if? I'm going to write that one down, Cassandra. Wouldn't it be great if we were all not trying to be right? Again, this is Amy Edmondson's work on impressions management, where she says that we don't want to seem negative, intrusive, incompetent, and it shows up in a way. And the higher you go up in the organization, they say the less likely you are to say, I don't know, number one. Number two, the less likely you are to listen. So the higher we go up, the more we're listening to respond rather than really listening and seeking to understand. Oof. What if my business was a Fortune 50 company? What if we had gender parity? Oh my gosh, what if we had gender parity? This is dreaming. Love both of these. Jamila, what's your what if? What are you thinking about? You're my co-moderator right now. Love this. What if we had gender, and why don't we? Right, let's go bigger. Why isn't your business? Your business will be a Fortune 50. What if? Again, we're going to cast a prophetic imagination. We're going to all those things. What if we could collectively submit meaningful legislation? Don, what if? Yeah. Mm-hmm. collectively submit. Don, can you come join us on the stage and give voice to that? It's an important one. I think you just request and then I'll pull you in. I know this might be a transition if you're on the East Coast. If anybody's like picking up kids or having to, just let me know. But Don, if you can come on, you just request audio and we can pull you on the stage.
Can you see
And
me?
there you are. Yes. Hello, friend. Talk to us about that.
So, just kind of listening to the news now as we're in our session. There's legislation that I think could meaningfully impact us as Black women. No one can best represent our interests the way we could. And it just seems like such juvenile, you get so tired of hearing the BS that, at least the elements of policy that gets the airtime, right? I mean, we know that there are, more meaningful things happening under the radar that, again, deserve our voice. And for those of us that are represented in Congress, I mean, it's such a small number that it's hard for us to have meaningful policy passed that impacts us as Black women. And so having just meaningful dialogue around issues that concern us, if we were a lobbying group, with a certain level of force and impact that like the fire department, I mean, that's one of the most powerful lobbying groups in the country. And if we brought our efforts forward like that, or things that impact us forward like that, to know it would be heard, to have the confidence that we could get it passed and do the footwork, versus being more of a token role or appearing to be more of a token role. I beg for the day. I hope I live to see the day where our issues take priority in terms of what gains airtime and then has a meaningful impact on women in the workplace or women in education or, all of those things. We have the Crown Act, but I'm still, wrestling with cases that involves, some contingency around that, what we're dealing with now, reproductive rights.
Yes.
It's just seems like we're stuck in a time where we're really talking about these types of things, just progressive legislation that impacts not just Black women, but all women. But I think Black women have the power of voice to be able to set the tone for just a shift, right? Yeah. Like I see RBG, the future of RBG looks like a Black woman to me.
So. I love that. Yeah. Where are you, Don? What organization?
I'm with Lockheed Martin. So technically my office is in Maryland, but I sit in Chicago. So I'm a commuter.
Okay. Got it. Very good. Thank you. And Sonia just said, speak it. Don, very well said. That's a what if. What if we set the tone for a shift? And the more that I study Reconstruction, but also the civil rights, it was always this idea of the collective making change, not even for self. Don, your point, what they would say is we won't see this in our lifetime. We don't know if our grandchildren will see it, but if we do nothing, we're doomed. And you hear that in the stories, like it's just such a powerful way to move on something that we have to, what if we're dreaming and imagining first, the prophetic imagination. Yeah, the collective making change, even better said. And I think what gets us is that we've started, we could have a whole class on when did the shift happen? When did we start moving from am I playing not to lose? Or am I playing to win? What's the difference in that? Am I playing not to lose? Am I playing to win? What's the difference? Yeah, mindset, expectation. Ooh. Tasha just came in. What if I operated as if my voice has weight instead of operating as if it doesn't? My goodness. What if I didn't move from a place of I have to be seen as worthy, but I recognize that I'm chosen. And from that place I move. What if Ashley just said it, playing not to lose comes from a place of fear. Playing to win expects. When you're playing to win, I'm moving in a different, right? I move with a different level of swag when I'm playing to win. I have faith that it will be successful. Clients come to me. I am Fortune 50. rather than if I am playing not to lose, right? I'm just dipping my toe in. I'm not all in. I'm hesitating. Who said this at the start? Like I'm celebrating and I'm still holding on to maybe this won't work. And so what would it take? I'm going to try to do pairs this time. I want to know, what would it take? What is it going to take to shift your mindset? Oh, goodness, Ashley, playing to win comes from a place of why, of course, right? Why not me? If not me, then who? Even like, of course, me. I also like scarcity versus abundance. So I want you to, and I'm going to, again, try to do pairs with this, but I want you to say, and where are you playing right now? Are you playing to win? Are you playing not to lose? And how are you going to shift that? Back to that, what if my company was Fortune 50 and I'm going to play to win? What does that require of me? So we'll just do a quick pair discussion. Raquel said, Ashley, you and the word. So this is what happens in strategic pathways for women, right? Of course, me, right? Of course. Different swag. All right, let's go into just pairs. Let's see if I can get this done. Groups of 2. 2 minutes each. Yeah, let's go 2 minutes each. So I'll do 5 minutes. All right, welcome back, everybody. Tiffany Miller, did you get put in with someone? I was about to have a conversation and then you disappeared. Did you get in with anyone?
No, it kept kicking me back into the same breakout room where I was by myself.
I'm sorry. Well, you can kick us off. Are you playing to win or playing not to lose?
Ooh, that's a good question. I would like to say I'm playing to win. But I definitely think more often than not, I might switch into survival mode and start playing not to lose.
Yeah. Like that. Where do we switch into survival mode? Let's see, Raquel, you coming in?
All right, that was so unintentional. Hello.
Hello. You know how I do. Because I have you on.
I can share what I talked with Nubia, who's like killing the game over at McDonald's.
Hey.
So really excited to talk with her. But one thing that I think from the last session that I actually had to sit with is that like I have my own business and I do still play to not to lose. Like it's like something in my mind that I was just have been realizing as I sit here. And I was telling her about a sermon I heard where he was like kind of what we were talking about with like facts are the truth. Like this is your truth. This is what you've accomplished. And the pastor at the time was like, doubt at this stage is illogical. And I was thinking about how much as a teammate and sort of walking over and talking to people and speaking over my business, I'm very faithful in my words, but very fearful in my heart. And I really can't keep having those two coexist because I'm not playing to win. I'm definitely playing consistently to not lose or not to feel like I failed in some way.
Oof, the gap between the head and heart. My goodness, can you drop that in? I'm faithful in my head. What did you say? Say it again. I know we have to go in a minute.
Oh, I said I'm faithful in my words, but fearful
words. That's it. Faithful in my words and fearful in my heart. When we first went, not first, but somewhere in the middle of COVID, something said, get out of your head and into your heart. So the heart is very important. So it's very good that you're noticing that. What is happening in my heart? And someone said something I thought was so important about the content. This is what I said this, that leaders get to this plateau, right? And the reason they say they stay on the plateau is what we're content. I'm playing not to lose. I keep doing what I'm doing really well, because playing to win is I'm not going to do this successfully every time. And there are going to be some places that don't go. But if we just try to do content, I'm doing where I'm successful, right? Because this makes me feel worthy in some way. I get another degree. But what if you took the risk? What if we took the risk? And from a place of you were chosen. And so I want to offer these. So how do is someone coming in? So how do you tap into your authentic leadership? Let's bring back our big mamas and grandmas, those things that we've seen in our neighborhoods. We do 3 things. Number 1, we get clear on who we are and why we are. I want to say, what's your purpose? When you get really clear on that. And then number 2, notice when you are dropping, a survival mode feels right, actually. Notice when you're moving out of your truth, again, present moment power, and into impressing someone. If I can keep you grounded in your purpose, then you're not worried about who's in the room. You're just flowing on what you know to be true and the gifts that you bring. All right. So this grounding in purpose, this noticing, when am I trying to manage somebody's impression? What did you say? Their opinion of me is their opinion. And then the last one, I just want to tell you that Raquel, you ended us nicely. We have to notice where the fear is still residing. And I hate to tell you all, you already know it. You got to go afraid. You hear Septima Clark talk about they would have a meeting and then they would leave, and the church blew up 5 minutes later. So this, yes, trauma, travels generations. So there are many things. So we have to take care of ourselves and recognize that, and then go in this mode of faith. That's it. Go afraid, heart beating. I want to put this down. This is a Septima quote. And Dawn, it made me think of what you said. She said the civil rights movement would never have taken off if women hadn't started to speak up. So there are a lot of places where we need to speak up that would start movements, that would shift communities, that would shift our families. So I really want you all to find your voice. Now I'm going to close out with a video. I'm hoping this plays for us. Let me hit play, and then you can tell me if you can hear the audio.
I'll be fine.
Can you hear it?
I'll do it. Well,
okay. Listen closely.
Here goes something, I guess. Oh, okay, you can do this. I'm gonna jump.
You got it.
Whoa, my ski's slipping off.
Just remember, never snowplow, okay?
No snow plows.
Just keep it straight and you'll be fine.
Okay.
Same thing you do on the 20.
Straight. Do you go faster on the in run?
Little bit.
A little bit?
Yeah.
Is it any steeper, do you think? Not much?
Same steepness, it's just longer.
Well, just longer. Just longer. Just a bigger 20, that's all.
Yep. Have fun.
A bigger 20. Go ahead. You got it. I got it. It's fine. You'll be fine. Okay. Here. The longer you wait, you'll be more scared. I go. Just the suspense at the top at the first time freaks you out. That's the only thing. It's so fun. Huh? 60 seems like nothing now. Whoa!
All right. Why did I end with that? ELC, we're like usually all black, everything. But this video, I think it just says it so well. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? Face the fear. Yeah, Cassandra, make that note. Where do we need to turn our fear into excitement, or what are we missing? The first 2 minutes of a mile are always the hardest. Oh, what I say to myself before run, the first 2 miles are always the hardest. And did you hear her? This is the best about siblings or cousins. The person says, the longer you wait, you will be more scared. The longer you wait, you will be more scared. It's just a bigger 20, Aubrey. Who said that? When the fear becomes the thrill. And so maybe the thing that's standing between your authentic, maybe you're on the top of the hill, deciding, do I lead in the way that's most authentic to me? Anybody else? Any final closing words? We're right at time. You've already done the work. It's just a bigger 20. That's Aubrey. I'm going to write that one in my journal. Anybody else? What's coming out? Get in chat. We are closing out, ladies. Where can your fear turn into excitement? Or where are you not as excited because we're moving fearfully? Yeah, thanks to all of you. Yes. Go all the way live and lean into your dopeness. Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Yes, Ashley, Black women are the leaders. The world has been waiting. Move with that. That's facts. I mean, it's facts. Oh, this is the point I'm getting goosebumps, because this is the point I didn't want to make. There are people coming behind us. I want to leave the culture better than we found it. One day we will be ancestors like Sister Septima and Sister Ella. What will people say about us and what we've done? That's our other natural inclination. Yeah, you are the woman for the job. Thank you, everyone. I hope to see you in New Orleans or on our virtual session where we go deeper into calling out the leader in you. Thanks, everybody.